family and friends, Disney adults, and people who swore it was just about a ride. We gather here today to lay to rest Splash Mountain. She lived a long life, splashing guests, soaking sneakers, and distracting folks from the fact that her roots came from a Disney film that Disney hid in the attic. For years, people said, "Leave it alone, it's a classic." Meanwhile, others said a classic built on controversy is still controversy. There were laughs, there were drops, and there was even heated Facebook debates, angry YouTube and Instagram comments, and even people acting like changing a log flume was the end of civilization itself.
Because Splash Mountain is based on Song of the South, which is a racist movie. And I find myself pretty progressive in most things, but Splash Mountain is my Christopher Columbus statue.
But today, we gonna speak truth. We gonna tell the truth in love. From ashes to ashes, mist to mist, it's time. Because while one chapter closes, a queen stepped forward. In today's episode of Theme Park Lifestyle Knockout Series, we're talking about the death of Splash Mountain and the rebirth into Tiana's Bayou adventure. Now let the service begin.
I'm gonna pray for you. And I want you to hold on to God's unchanging hand, because He helped Joshua fight the battle of Jericho. Yes. He helped Daniel get out the lion's den. He helped Gilligan get off the island. Lord.
Now, before we say goodbye to Splash Mountain, we kind of need to tell the truth here. Not the theme park version, not the watered down version, but the real version. Because this story didn't start with Disney, it actually started with us. Long before the ride opened at Disneyland in 1989 and later at the Magic Kingdom in 1992, these were African American folktales. These stories were born out of struggle, passed down by our ancestors, told in a way where truth had to be coded, survival had to be smart, and laughter had to carry the weight of our pain. Br'er Rabbit wasn't just a character, he was strategy. He was resilience. He was survival in a world that was designed against you. And then came the Song of the South, released in 1946, a film that took these stories and wrapped them into a version of the South that many say has erased the reality of what our people went through. And from that came the ride that millions of people loved, but not everyone felt seen in. So before we talk about the death of the ride, we have to understand the life of the story it came from. Because it's bigger than a log flume. It's about ownership. It's about history. It's about how Black stories are told and who gets to tell them. Now let's get into it. Now let's talk about the real story. Because this was never just about animals. Br'er Rabbit, Br'er meaning brother, comes from African American folk tales rooted in African traditions, and it was shaped during slavery in the American South. If you only see a rabbit, a fox, and a bear, you're missing it. This story is code. Br'er Rabbit, Brother Rabbit, in other words, represents enslaved Black people. Not powerful, but smart, always thinking and always surviving. Now, Br'er Fox, Brother Fox, he represents control, power. He's always trying to trap and dominate society. He is the system, or what we call massa. Br'er Bear, or Brother Bear, he's the muscle. He's the intimidation factor. He's strong, but he's not always thinking for himself. He only does what Br'er Fox ordered him to do. These characters reflect real life. These stories were told when enslaved people couldn't speak freely, so they spoke through storytelling. These stories taught you how to stay alert, how to think smart, how to survive and outmaneuver the others. This wasn't just entertainment, it was survival. It was wisdom. It was how to move in a system that was built against you, told right in front of the people that was against them. These stories were told right in front of the people who didn't even realize what they were hearing. And then comes Joel Chandler Harris, a journalist in Georgia who overheard these stories on plantations, and in 1879 he published them. And then again in 1881 in book form. And here's where things took a shift. He didn't just write them down, he reshaped them. He added new characters like Uncle Remus, Auntie Tempy, Toby, and Johnny, and told the stories through a romanticized point of view of plantation life using exaggerated Black Southern dialect. This is where the perspective changed, because now stories rooted in survival were being retold in a way that softened slavery and made plantation life seem comforting. Now let's break down these extra roles that Joel created. Uncle Remus, created by Joel Chandler Harris, was written as the storyteller of Br'er Rabbit's tales. His role fits the content slave, kind, loyal, elderly Black man shown as comfortable within the system, presenting a soft, romanticized versions of plantation life instead of reality. Uncle Remus also played a very nasty, negative Black stereotype in film called the Uncle Tom / Sambo. Auntie Tempy, another character added into these stories that represent a negative Black stereotype called the Mammy. She is a nurturing maternal Black woman whose whole role is centered around caring and serving the white household. She's shown as warm and loyal, but also completely subservient, reinforcing a soft, romanticized version of plantation life instead of the truth. And the last character I'm going to talk about is Toby. Toby is a young Black character, a child. He plays the role of the pickaninny. The pickaninny is a unkept Black child with big lips, unkept hair, and basically he's Johnny's best friend in the Song of the South and in the Br'er Rabbit stories. So these characters minimize what it was like for Black people during those times. So what started out as codes of survival stories, it became something entirely different, which made it racist because of how they changed the perspective to romanticize what it was like living on a plantation as a slave. Now, going back to the attraction Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain did tell the story of Br'er Rabbit. For the most part, most people didn't even get the storyline of Splash Mountain because they thought it was just about a rabbit, a bear, and a fox. There's an actual scene on the ride where you're going up the lift hill at the end. The reason why Br'er Rabbit got caught was because of something called a tar baby. The tar baby, it has several different meanings. It is a derogatory slur, and then also as well, it means to a very sticky situation. In the book and in the movie, Br'er Rabbit sees the tar baby, which is a doll that Br'er Fox and Br'er Bear made. He goes up to him because he's dressed in clothes and he says hello to him. He notices he didn't speak back. So Br'er Rabbit thought he was rude and basically kept going and trying to get him to speak. He felt antagonized and he actually hit the tar baby and got stuck. On the ride at the end, as you're going up the lift hill of Splash Mountain, you do see Br'er Rabbit, but you don't see the tar baby. They didn't show that scene on the attraction, but you see Br'er Rabbit. He gets tangled and stuck, and then they tie him up and then pushes him over the briar patch. Disney just didn't change Splash Mountain just to change it. It didn't represent everyone, and it romanticized the Old South, ignoring the realities of slavery. As conversations of culture and representation grew, Disney made the choice to retire the old narrative and move forward with something new. And this is how we got the birth of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, a story rooted in celebration, culture, and a character that people can relate to today. So when we talk about the death of Splash Mountain, this isn't just to remove the ride. It was about closing a chapter that didn't represent everybody in the right way. For some people, nostalgia is powerful, but it shouldn't come at a cost of truth and growth. Growth meaning looking at something, understanding where it comes from, and deciding to do better. That's why this change mattered, not to erase history, but to move forward with it, honestly. And in its place, we got Tiana's Bayou Adventure, a story that celebrates culture, legacy, and progress. So now I have to leave you with one more question. After everything we uncovered, the history, the controversy, the memories, the conversations surrounding Splash Mountain transformation into Tiana's Bayou Adventure, did we really truly understand the original story, what they were trying to say? Did we ever really crack the code behind Br'er Rabbit's journey? A character born from stories about survival, cleverness, and finding a way through the world that's against him and built to be against him. Or somewhere along the way, did the meaning get changed, repackaged, and turned into something easier to accept? Because like Kendrick Lamar reminded us, sometimes you have to look deeper than what's on the surface to understand the true message. So I ask you, have we really changed from the past, or did we just put a pretty bow on the same issues and called it progress? I want to know your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you love Splash Mountain? Do you love Tiana's Bayou Adventure? Can both of these things exist? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And if you want more theme park history, ride battles, and conversations like this, stay tuned. This is Theme Park Lifestyle, and I'll see you in the next adventure.